What's up? What's up? What's going on, people? It's your boy, Jermaine McCrimmon, and welcome to the show. This is episode 47 from Humanity Unplugged podcast. And hopefully, you guys are having a great week. Through it all, we're still here and we rocking with whatever comes our way. Today's episode is different. And I got to say that off the top because I have nothing special to talk about, no special topics, no special agenda to give you guys. We'd like to thank everyone for sharing the love on our social media platforms. You guys are doing a great job. We'd like to thank everyone for listening on our podcast as well, on our Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all the platforms. We thank you guys for doing that. And over time, doing these episodes, I find things I don't find a lot of things to talk about. Sometimes I talk about topics that I see on the news because I think it's relevant and I like to talk about these issues. But today, Thursday's podcast is special in its own sense because I'm just going to go off on what I feel and what I feel and the world feels about it. No one's talking about it too much. I don't see it at least, but what I'm going to talk about is the decision when people decide to go to school to get a higher education. And I'm specializing in the field of college, people going to college. When you grow up and you go to school every day, your parents send you to school and you get an education, you go there and they say, you need to go to school. You need to get a special training, a special skill so you can become all you can be. You can use all the tools given to you so you can be a good provider for your family and be a stand-up citizen in today's world. However, over time, our society changes, and that goes with the drugs hitting our communities, along with decisions we make on everyday life, the careers we choose, the path we choose to walk. No one has it already mapped out. You might, in a way, uh, say, I like to do this, and you might say, I like to try that. But overall, you try to map out what you want to do and then execute. And sometimes things doesn't work in your favor. Does that mean that it wasn't your destiny to do what you set forth to do because you didn't achieve it right away, or there's a delay in you achieving your goal, or maybe what you decided to do when you was a child doesn't provide financial freedom as you get older. Well, when we look deeper into that, we need to look to how things change, the economy change, and also what's going on in today's world. Certain jobs will always be there, whether you want to look at those jobs or not. They will always be there. Where there are jobs that are appealing to your taste, there still will be there. But I look at things on the college level to be very challenging. When you go to college, if you're not on a full scholarship and you have to pay out your pocket, and financial aid is great because it gives you the opportunity to get this education, but the bills pile up, the loans pile up. The frustration of landing a good paying job is far and near. Just because you have a bachelor's degree and you have a master's degree doesn't mean you're going to get that six-figure job you look for. And in today's episode, I want us to focus in on that because there's tons of people in our society that go to school for a long period of time but doesn't get the reward, as I would say, that they're looking for. They don't see that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it's very frustrating to see that you spent a lot of time and show dedication in something, but yet you don't get the reward. And perhaps it could have been that the field you chose to go into is not popping, as they would say right now, or the field you chose to get into is it doesn't have a large, high paying scale for you to go to and get that job that's satisfying for your need or for what you need it for, as in financial freedom. Some people will tell you that going to college is a waste of time. Educating yourself on that special skill set when it comes to college itself might not be worth it. Well, I would tell you that you should go with your heart. I would tell you that college is not for everyone. I will also tell you that depending on what you want to go for as a career, college might be the last thing you need to do, because you can be very successful and be financial and reach financial freedom without going to college. So if you had a chance to go to a community college and get your feet wet and try that. Okay, if you want to try that, maybe it doesn't cost you much. You're not for sure what you want to do. You take up a course or two and see how you work with that. Does it go with your everyday life struggles? Most people that work, it's very difficult for them to work and go to school and go to college. That's why your parents, when you're little, they tell you go to school, stay in school, because you don't have the responsibilities that you have once you become an adult and you're working and you got to support yourself. Oftentimes, minorities included in this, and that's basically what I'm looking at. Somehow, when we get older as a minority, uh, black, Hispanic, we choose that we want to leave home for some reason. We want to leave the protection of our parents that were there to protect us and guide us. And it's so strange because we're okay. A parent is okay raising you from scratch till you're 18, but all of a sudden, once that child becomes 18, the parent don't know nothing no more. The parent is slow. The parent is not the person that you need to listen to get the wisdom and knowledge to be successful. Well, if we actually looked at that narrative and looked at that very closely, we would see that the parent was already doing a great job because you made it to 18 without any problems. So why couldn't they help you along the way as you got a little older? You got to take the time. I would suggest to take the time to listen and understand the perspective the parent is giving you on the journey you want to take. Now, most parents know when the child coming up whether they're college bound or not. I mean, we're not going to act like you can make a rock bring out water. You know what you have as your child is growing. You know how sharp they are. You know their tendencies. You know if that child can make it in college just by them functioning in your house. Some kids that's not organized or have that discipline at home will not have it as they get older, that you just don't see it. So is it best for that child to go away to college? Well, I ask you that because I want you to leave in the comments how you feel about that. If your child shows you that they don't have the discipline that it takes to go to college, nor do they have a mindset of being by themselves for a long period of time, getting things done without supervision, is that child worth going away to school, wasting their time, and maybe getting bills that they don't need to accumulate at a young age, like student loans, if you know deep inside college is not for them? Well, some people will still say, I'm going to send my child to college, or they force them to go to college. And the results, most of the time, are not good when a child is forced into doing something they don't want to do. So when you look at jobs without a college degree, You look at back in the day when I was younger, younger than what I am now. Certain jobs you didn't need a degree for. I remember the time to be a police officer, you didn't need a degree for that. You just had life experience, take the test. Now, as things passed and time has went on, they changed it where you got to have 24 credits. You might have to have some type of law enforcement background. And they made things a little different for that particular job. But for your everyday jobs, and I say everyday jobs, fire department, post office, sanitation, those type of jobs, MTA, transit, you don't need a degree for these jobs, but they don't pay like the private industry as well. Now, recently, or over the last 10 to 15 years, salary has risen, or if you want to say rose, or you want to say improved, whatever you want to call it, it's better now. It is a little better. I don't think you're making $80,000 to start at FDNY. You're not making $80,000 to start at the post office. Certainly, excuse me, you're not making $80,000 at sanitation either. Now, I said $80,000 because if you're in New York, and I'm just being honest with you, and I'm probably lowballing it at that, it's very rare that if you make under $80,000 in New York, you're still in the poverty level. You're still in the poverty level if you're making $80,000 or less in New York City because living in New York City costs a lot of money just to live. Rent is extremely high in New York City, taxes is high, and everything costs double the amount anywhere else you want to live. So if you get a job and you think you're making good money at $80,000, once taxes hit, once your rent or your mortgage hit, and God forbid you have a car note, car insurance, and you better not have any children, life is now difficult. It's very, very difficult for you to make ends meet, and that's at $80,000 a year. So we got to look carefully as our children come up in this society, in this world. Excuse me. And we have Trump here. He's cutting out all the programs, and we're in war. Things are going on left and right. Uh, the tariffs are here. Eggs are high, $8 a dozen, $9 a dozen. Milk is high. Everything costs more money, but yet your income doesn't increase. What you make every year, or what you're making, period, is it doesn't improve. But yet taxes improve. Taxes go up. Um, Prices, inflation, everything goes up except your income. So we have to really look back and look into when we talking to our youth and talking to our children on the careers they want to go through or the careers they want to choose, what's best for them. And as I go through this, and I mentioned college might not be right for them because when you look back over doing 4 years for your bachelor's degree, you still have no experience in the field. So if you came out of college with a bachelor's degree, with a 4-year bachelor's degree with no experience, maybe they might give you a job making $40,000 a year. And that's not a lot of money, you know? Now, if you have some experience, okay, they give you 50,000. In New York, that's still not a lot of money for you to pay your bills. You can manage, but you're still struggling after you did 4 years of college. When you can go do a 9-month program, HVAC program, and maybe get a job paying you 75,000 to start with no experience. But because of your trade, makes you more valuable than the book smart. So what I'm saying to you people is a special skill set can sometimes go way further than a degree because The skill set is a need that people need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your bachelor's degree, say you got emergency management bachelor's degree, and say you don't have the experience that other people have. Yes, you'll get the job because you got your degree. But since you don't have that type of experience, they're not going to pay you the type of money because we have people like you a dime a dozen, because we got 5 to 6 different people with a bachelor's degree in emergency management that can do the same job you can do. So why would I pay you more than I would pay someone else? On the flip side of that, that person with that special skill set, say HVAC technician, everyone don't have the qualifications for that skill set. So therefore, he's going to be more valuable to a hospital. Why I say that? Because a hospital got to have controlled environment all the time. Or if you say a nuclear plant will need a HVAC person all the time to keep things cool 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they're going to need somebody there on deck to take care of anything that might go left. So when you do the comparison, what trade should I get into, or what should I do to be more productive to get the high paying job without going into getting a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in college? So this is something we're going to talk about uh, in our next segment on what jobs are available that you can go to get a 2 year trade or a 9 month trade that can give you the income that you might need to be successful and provide for your family without doing the 4 years of college. And when we go into this, it's going to be people that say I'm wrong. It's going to be people that have their own opinion of what I say, and that's fine. These are just my beliefs. These are just what I think I would direct my sons or daughter to do if they needed to get into a field getting some good money. I would definitely tell them pick up a trade, any type of trade, electrician, plumber, HVAC. These are trades that are on demand because hospitals, corporations, IT, they all need these trades to be present to keep things running. So you got to have someone there 24/7 to make sure things are running properly. That's why cybersecurity pays so much money, because someone has to be there all the time making sure your precious private information is protected. And we have to have the skill set to understand that. The next thing I would tell them to do is go get a class in AI. AI is popping right now. And now is the time for people to get educated on what commands and how to talk to AI so it can function properly and be productive in every atmosphere. Because soon AI will be heavy in the hospitals. It's already heavy in tech. And if you look real closely in the world, they're using it heavy now. It's just not being pushed yet on the playing field where there's going to be a demand, where you're going to be mandatory to have it. But I did see it recently on Indeed where they're requesting people to know AI. So we have to pay attention to what's going on and the need of your community. Follow the news to find out what's going on, to understand how things are switching off, changing. You're going to forever need nurses and doctors because the number one thing in America is illnesses. They want people to be sick so we can charge you for prescriptions, medication. So a nurse are going to always be needed. A doctor is going to always be there. But an MRI technician, they're needed. X-ray technician, needed. Anesthesia tech, person that give out the anesthesia to put you to sleep for the surgery, they're needed. And they pay big money for a technician, big money for a radiologist, big money for a sonogram person, even a phlebotomy person, a person that takes blood in the hospital. Big money. It might not even be big money, but it's consistent money and big overtime where that can make up the difference. But if we don't know no better and pay attention to what's going on, we don't know where to go. We don't see the direction that we need to go in to be okay, or just to maintain our families and maintain what we got going on, because we're not paying attention. We're so distracted with the videos. We're so distracted with the mommy makeovers and the BBLs. And I love I love to look at a pretty woman. I love to look at people being successful and doing great things. But if we're not focusing on what we need to focus on, we're going to miss what we need to do or miss what is needed for us to be great. And that's the problem. A lot of things are set out here in our world to distract us from focusing in on what we need to be focusing on. And that's the problem. So I'm not against going to college. I'm not against a person wanting to get a degree in nursing because they want to do that. Some people are born to say, I want to help. I want to be that first responder. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a police officer. All these things are great. And I don't doubt it. Go be the best you can be, because some people are called for that. When I got into law enforcement, it was an accident, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy giving back to my community. I enjoyed it. I went to school to get a higher level of being a decision maker. See, for some people, you need to understand. All people need to understand that there's levels. You could be on the front line or you could be behind scenes. I started off personally as me, as a reference of being uh, as transparent I can be with you. I started off front line. So I know what it is to be out there. But once I got older, I realized I didn't want to be out there no more. I got the experience I needed. I know what I know. So I wanted to move back off the scene and I can teach someone else certain things and implement different structures and procedures and donate that way and give back that way. But to get those type of jobs, you have to go to school to elevate yourself, because those jobs that elevate you into different levels come with different qualifications that you must bring to the table. So that's also why certain people go to college to get the paper that is needed to get the bag. But nowadays, a lot of our family members just want the bag. A lot of our children and young youth, they see the Mercedes Benz, but they don't see the work. They see the BMW, the M5, but they don't see all the nights you stayed up 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. They don't see all the time you did the overtime and did doubles, but all they see is the afterwards. They see the reward. They don't see the time that you put in. And just because you might make it look easy and just because you might handle your stress differently, people think or people may imply that, oh, I can do that. That's easy. I can do that, until your feet are put into those shoes and you have to walk that journey. And then you find out then it's a whole new ball game. So I beg parents to continue to talk to the children and try to educate them slowly and every day feed them a little bit at a time. Sometimes we talk too much as parents and it's too much on the plate for the kid to receive. They can't receive, it's too much. Sometimes you got to hand feed your kids a little bit at a time so they can get the information, they can absorb the information, they can reflect and then build a solid foundation. And I think that's important and we need to do that. And I think if we do that more, then our next generation coming through will have a even playing field where they understand things a lot better. Right now everybody want to go to the NBA and get the bag, but there's a small percentage of people that get drafted into the NBA. There's a small percentage of people that get drafted into the NHL. There's a small percentage of people that get drafted into the NFL and also into the Major League Baseball. There's a small group of athletes that get drafted. What about all those kids? All those kids that left school early and and their name was never called. What do they do? Where did their life start? Or did it start? Where did it go next after that? So we have to understand that life is not full of chocolates all the time. We have to learn how to move, learn how to maneuver, and understand what's going on so we'll know how to prepare ourselves to be productive for our families. And it's very, very, it's not hard, but if we're not paying attention, it just makes things more difficult than it need to be. So my message to you is college better than going to get a trade? It all depends on the person. It all depends on what you're looking for. But if you follow the economy and look at the statistics, getting a degree right now doesn't promise you a high paying job. I know tons of people with degrees and they don't have the high paying job they went to college for. Our economy right now is down on hiring and giving out a big bag unless you're in a certain field. IT tech is paying, cybersecurity is paying, information systems paying. But even with your degree, you need to have some experience as well to get that real bag. And when I say real bag, I'm talking about 125, 115, six figures. Because right now, six figures is what you need, period, just to manage. Anything under that, you're really struggling. And you don't have to admit it to me. You don't have to admit it to me. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me. It's fine. But I look at the numbers. I know what the numbers are. When you give me the math, I tell you, and your rent is what? Yeah, buddy. You can tell me all you want, but it's rough out here. It is really, really rough out here. And it doesn't make sense to lie to yourself. Take a minute, take a deep breath, whoever you are, reevaluate where you at and where you want to be and the steps of getting to where you want to be, how you can change where you at right now to get to where you want to be. I'm your host, Jermaine McCrimmon. This is episode, I believe, 47. And the title of this episode is Let's Talk. That's the name of it. Let's talk. Let's really look at it. Let's talk. Or I might name it, I don't know. I might name it Is College for You? I don't know. But it'll be out. God bless you guys. Take it easy. Uh, be safe. And please remember, man, when life give you lemons, you know the slogan, you make lemonade. I love you all. God bless. Until next time, peace.